and welcome to this brand new show, What's Happening in Your Neighborhood, where we discuss all things New Bedford, lifestyle, wellness, business. I'm special guest, Ward 3 City Councilor Shawn Oliver, and today in studio we have our first guest, my good friend, Jesse St. Gelais. Jesse, how are you?
I'm doing great, Shawn. How about you?
Very good. Thank you for coming today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
No, absolutely. As I said, we dive into all things New Bedford here. We talk about business, health, wealth. Before we get into that, who is Jesse St. Gelais, the person?
Yeah, so I was born right here in New Bedford, right on Cedar Grove Street.
That's my ward, yeah.
Right in your ward, yeah. So that was back in 1983. And I attended Hayden McFadden School right down the street.
Okay.
So I went to that elementary school for a little while. And then about 1993 or so, my parents moved to Acushnet, and that's when I attended Acushnet Elementary School, Ford Middle School, and then I ended up coming back to New Bedford High, and I graduated in 2001.
Okay, yeah. We both graduated. We graduated together.
Yeah.
Back in 2001, and
that's actually where I met my wife.
Oh, okay.
Back in 2001, I met my lovely wife Tess.
Yeah.
We have 3 children together.
Oh, good, yeah, busy.
Yeah. Madison, Autumn, and Benjamin. And right now, Madison's in college, and Autumn, she's in Ford Middle School, and Benjamin's in Acushnet Elementary.
Okay, yeah, so city guy.
Yeah.
Maybe left for a little bit, but came back. And you met a high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
Had a little
built a life together.
Yeah,
we built a
awesome,
life
awesome.
together here. Now we live in Acushnet. Yeah.
Good. So, even though that you live in Acushnet,
Yeah.
you have a business here in the city.
I do.
Help you insure insurance on Acushnet Avenue.
Yes, that's correct.
You guys have been in business for quite some time.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, so that business started back in 1989.
Okay.
So we've been in business about 35 years. My father started that, and my mom. They both worked there. It's a family-owned and operated company still. But, it was built walking and knocking. My father is, he went out to the town, knocked on those doors. And
Did you do any of that walking and knocking?
I've been doing, not back then, but not in that capacity, but I've been doing quite a bit now as of
good.
late.
All right. So no stranger to that?
No stranger to that at all. It's in my blood, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Going out, meeting people, and, helping them out.
Yeah,
And that's
okay.
what my father did to build this company.
Right, well, that's good. So family-owned and operated business
Yeah.
here in the city of New Bedford. Have you guys been in the same location that entire time?
Yeah, so we actually had a location right on Union Street in the
Okay.
very beginning. Then we actually moved that one up to the north end, where it is now.
Okay.
We did have a location in Dartmouth and in Fairhaven, but as times change, a lot of things are online, and so we just consolidated everything to the one New Bedford location.
Right. So small business advocacy, that's something that's big for you.
Absolutely.
You know about payrolls.
Oh,
You know
absolutely.
about,
Yeah.
So, and what it's like to have a group of people to work around.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, signing the front and the back of a paycheck, right? That's something that's to be said
Oh, absolutely.
for any small business owner, right? But even that, advocating, for small businesses, that's what I do with the commercial lines.
Okay.
I mean, we've helped a lot of companies get off the ground just by, having that perception.
Yeah. And I assume you're part of the day-to-day operation over there, overseeing everything.
Absolutely.
Making sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. So, what else does Jesse St. Gelais like to do? Aside from the family man, the businessman, what else? What other things does Jesse do to fill his time?
Yeah, I fill my time quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm also a member of 2 different nonprofits.
Okay.
And they're all both based out of New Bedford as well. So the New Bedford Port Society.
Okay.
And the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick.
All right. The Port Society, not the Port Authority.
No.
So
The
okay.
Port Society. Yeah.
Now, the Port Society, that's what, advocating for.
Yeah. So Siemens, Bethel, and the Mariners House.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's very historic. I mean, the history in that place, unbelievable. There was a big restoration years ago. We actually have a big event coming up. Just to show everybody, like, look, this is what this place. Go on in, look at it, look around. I mean, there's so much history.
I think those are 2 landmarks in the city that folks are quite familiar with.
Yeah.
So to know
to promote it
that
and
you're
just,
someone who's advocating for that, those are things that I know as a city councilor. are not necessarily in the city's budget, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you guys have to advocate.
That's right. It's a
for
lot
funding,
of fundraising, and we have a lot of generous people out here in the community that, I mean, this is the heart of our city, right? Is the fishing industry.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, being able to tap into our local resources to help promote this and preserve this building too, and its rich history. I mean, that's so important.
Well, that's great. I've attended quite a few ceremonies at the Siemens Bethel. And people always refer to that area, Johnny Cake Hill, as being a huge focal point. We always think about Moby Dick and things like that. So it's great that you guys.
That's where my son was baptized too.
It's great that you guys are advocating to preserve that here in our community. Yeah. Now, you said that you were a member of another nonprofit.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that. What's
so the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick.
Oh, okay. A lot of people know about that.
Oh, absolutely. We do a ton. It's a great group. But I've been a member of that for quite a few years. I just recently was on the board of directors for 3 years, and now they just elected me as vice president. So it's a huge honor.
So no stranger to elections?
No, not at all.
No stranger
that
to...
was my first one there, and it went pretty well.
The first one, listen, I'll tell you from experience. The first one is always the hardest one, okay? The first one is tough. Yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah. You're fumbling around.
You're just going to dive in.
You never think you're doing enough.
Yeah.
And so that's good to get that out of the way. No stranger to elections. Yeah. Building a coalition of people.
Absolutely, helping out the community, just getting right to the source.
That's amazing, So, and I know that the Friendly Sons do a lot with a scholarship program,
Absolutely,
I believe.
Yeah, so we do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, the group of people that are in this organization, it's amazing. Yeah. Again, it's an honor. The amount of work that we do to help out our community, it's awesome. It's right to the heart, right to the core. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Awesome. So Jesse St. Gelais, family guy, local guy, small business management and owning a family business with your family. Yeah. Likes to give back to the community.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's amazing. So we're going to dive into a little bit of the business side of things, as we do here on the show.
Sure.
Insurance, right? Oh, it's one of those things that we never really think about.
Shawn, I think people might fall asleep.
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
listen.
Sorry, everyone.
This is a tough topic, let me tell you. But it's something that we don't necessarily think about all the time.
That's right.
Yeah. It's one of those things that we pay into. We don't see a direct benefit of it unless we use it.
That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about that, right? Do you have multiple carriers you work with? But talk a little bit about the in-between of the customer, the different carriers, and how you navigate all of that.
Basically what we're an independent insurance agency. So what that really means is that we work for you. So when you come into my agency,
you insure.
I help you insure.
Nice.
That's
nice.
right. But when you come into my agency, I mean, you walk through those doors where we're there to help you. We have a variety of options for you. So it's not like when some of these people go online and they shop with a carrier online. That's one flavor, right? So it's like if you went to an ice cream shop. You wouldn't want to just get vanilla. You want to have your options, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we are, and what we do is we're essentially the middle person in that. We represent.
But you're an actual person, not
an actual person at that too.
Just some internet-based website.
I believe in that handshake, you face to face.
Human-to-human contact. The going right back to the knocking the doors, right?
That's right. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? It means a lot to people to have that access to somebody with the knowledge.
That personal touch.
Yeah. I mean, we have skin in the game. This is my community that I represent, as an agency. So we want to make sure that we keep that, these families growing, as far as helping them out and getting them value. So negotiating with the carriers, though, is what we do. So we look around for you and find that value and try to save you some money.
Okay. So, I'm no stranger to insurance myself. Mm-hmm. I think, all of our viewers at one point or another have had some type of insurance. Mm-hmm. Just to clarify, you guys don't do health insurance or anything like that?
No, we stay away from that. We're a smaller agency, but it is a little complicated in this state. So we're pretty busy with our commercial lines, so our business insurance, life insurance, auto and home. We even do pet insurance. I mean, we'll pretty much insure just about everything.
Well, people absolutely love their pets. That's a
absolutely
huge member of the family. I actually think you have two little
I
dogs.
do, yeah.
Yep.
Yep, I have two dogs. One's Odie,
You
and
have
the other.
insurance on them?
I do actually. So I need to. I'm a clumsy guy myself.
So
I
you
mean,
buy your own product.
That's right. I do.
yeah,
Yeah. So not only am I a member, I'm also a client or
Yes,
whatever. How did that
nice.
go?
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, yeah. So I mean, we have all types of insurance available. Again, we don't offer health insurance. With the way that the state is, I think it's better off, for a small agency not to. But as far as everything else, though, we've helped grow a lot of businesses with our competitive rates and our knowledge of the ins and outs of running a business and what it takes to start up a business, right? So that's pretty unique to how we operate there, and that a lot of businesses have been coming to us and asking for our help. And again, we have to save money where we can. Small businesses are so important, to our community. They employ people. They give back to the community in charitable ways. It's just all around. It's a good thing. So we have to keep them here. And part of what we do at Help You Insure, we take that very serious. You come in, you have a nice consultation with us. We want to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck, the best value, making sure you're covered, your most valuable assets.
So now insurance, right? You brought up the best value, best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
In the insurance business, as a customer, is it smart to always just look for the cheapest insurance? There's been times where I remember calling, this agency or that agency, and I'd have my notebook right, at the kitchen table, and I'd be like, for this agency I'm paying X amount, and this agency I'm paying Y amount. Is it always beneficial to go with the cheapest at that exact moment, or how can people know that this is the right fit for me and it's not necessarily always the cheapest option?
First, they got to talk to me, right? But no, to answer your question, right? It's not always the best, but like you, I want to save money, right? Everybody wants to save money. We have to save money right now. I mean, that's very important. That's always the number one thing on people's minds, right? But you also want to make sure that you're buying the right product. So you don't want to go and skimp out on coverages. I mean, sometimes it's so cheap to go ahead, and go up maybe $200,000 in protection for liability. And a lot of people are opting out, to go with the cheap one, maybe when they buy it with those online carriers, right? I'm talking auto insurance here.
Right.
So it's not always the best thing to do is to look at that price first, right? Shop around, look for an agency that, you feel comfortable with, an independent agent, local business, keep it local. So you want to start there, and then you want to explore options with your professional. And go ahead and see what best fits you. I mean, you want a tailored policy, and that's what I do. I listen to my clients. Everybody has different needs, so it's just not one flavor again, for each client. Everybody has different needs, and what we do is, after discussion, I mean, of course, again, they want to save money. We try to get them the best deal, and then the best product that's going to fit them best.
Yeah, and you guys Help You Insure insurance on
Yes.
not actually
2148 Acushnet Avenue, right in the north end.
2148 Acushnet Avenue.
Yeah.
And you guys have been there for quite some time now.
Yeah,
So pillar in the community, basically.
That's
I
right.
like that.
Absolutely.
Now, as a city councilor, I am a strong advocate for small business. As a small business, what are some of the hurdles? I think you touched on some of them, budgeting and making sure that you're getting the right product. But what are some of the hurdles of a small business here in New Bedford, if any?
Well, it could be taxes, tax rates. I mean, that can hurt a small business.
Yep.
Just overall, I mean, just where your business is located. You want to make sure it's in a high traffic area. You want to make sure it's in a safe area too. So those could be challenges that a small business could face.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, we talked about a little bit of insurance. We talked about maybe the cheapest isn't the best.
Yeah.
When people are looking for ways to perhaps a la carte their insurance, are there some do's and don'ts that you would recommend in the profession? Like, I know myself, sometimes I struggle with, do I really need to add rent-a-car? Could I lose glass coverage or theft? So talk a little bit about maybe some of the do's and don'ts.
The do's and don'ts, I mean, the don'ts, well, again, don't skimp out on things. You know your risk, and I always tell people this, you know your risk better than I do. So you know what street you live on. So if you live on a one-way street that's parking on both sides, very narrow, and there's been a lot of accidents on that street, well, guess what? Probability is going to be somebody's going to probably hit your car and take off too. Who knows? We don't.
Hey, listen, I get those.
Not everybody's leaving those notes anymore.
You laugh, but I get those phone calls, and although it's an insurance and a police matter, we get those phone calls. My car was hit. What do I do? And my first thing is call your local insurance agent, your carrier, see what your coverage is.
But I'll tell you, those nice people out there that leave the note on your car, they are few and far between. Yeah. But thank God they're out there still. Yeah. And say, hey, I hit your car, and that kind of thing. So that's good. That's helpful. But you don't want to skimp out on coverages though. It's really detrimental. You want to make sure that you take the time to protect your most valuable assets and explain that and have that conversation with your agent. I know you do home, auto, business, but for a lot of my constituents, the taxpayers of the city, their biggest investment is their home. That's right.
And with the increased value that we see in home ownership and things like that, should people take a second look to see if they're fully covered?
Absolutely.
My home is worth more now than when I first.
So you touched on something that is so important. We've been seeing that a lot lately.
Yeah.
So in regard to homeowners insurance, absolutely. So you think about it, if you purchased your home 20 years ago, a lot of people aren't even reviewing their policies. They're just letting it renew because it might be escrowed through their bank or whatever. So they're just paying their mortgage and
guilty.
Well, there you go, right? So you don't really think to say, hey, how much am I paying for my home insurance? Because where it's escrowed, you're looking at your taxes and your home insurance, looped into your mortgage payment. So it's always good to review that, even every year. I tell everyone. I mean, even though we're a small agency, we're a busy agency, but reach out. I have no problem reviewing that policy, but
if people did want to reach out to you, right? How do they do that again?
Yeah, you can visit my website, helpyouinsure.net.
That's with a U though, right?
So we spell it out, the Y-O-U.
Oh, okay.
Helpyouinsure.net, or you can come into the office. That's at 2148 Acushnet Avenue. Yeah. Or you can just give us a call at 508-996-3934.
Cool. But so you think people should not think? I think it's a good idea. Is every calendar year, take a look at your insurance.
At least a month before it renews, reach out to your agent or reach out to me.
Yeah. I'm sure you'd love to have their business.
Absolutely.
Right?
But you call your agent and then just have that conversation with them and ask them, do you think that I have enough insurance? And then, what we'll do is we'll look at it, reevaluate it, and the market climbs. So there are a lot of underinsured homes out there. Another big thing, too, that I just want to touch on, aside from homeowners insurance, is renters insurance. That is so important. If you live in a city with
just like New Bedford, right? Multiple three-deckers, multi-families. Too.
It's so cheap to get that kind of policy.
My first property that I bought here in the city was a two-family. Yeah. And I covered insurance, obviously, for the property. And I always recommended to my tenants that, listen, I have smoke detectors. Everything is new. That we've totally rehabbed the house, but in the slim chance that something happens, protect yourself. So
that's right.
That's great. So, renters insurance is another thing.
Renters is huge.
Talk about that, because people think I'm covered under my landlord, so I'm all set.
So not true at all. So and you think about the guy that's making a grilled cheese that forgets it on the stove, right? And that unfortunate circumstance happens where the house catches on fire, or the cat that chews the wires, right? So there's those
dogs that you talk about,
those little ankle biters, right? But that can happen. Anything can happen, and that's what insurance is for. It's to protect your valuable assets. So tenants insurance is so inexpensive. A lot of people don't even know it's out there. I mean, I recommend it, and they're like, wow, I never heard of that, And unfortunately, we've seen how this ends up, right? You see this in cities like this one here, where people have lost everything, and it's terrible. But for an inexpensive policy that might cost you maybe $100 or so a year, you'd have some peace of mind. But you're not covered under your landlord. Okay. Now, the landlord's policy would just cover that structure, that building, but everything you own inside of your apartment, that's on you.
Now, are there different levels to renters insurance, or is it just kind of?
Yeah, it's how much. We set an amount, essentially. Whatever suits your needs. Again, tailor that to what you have. So you might have collectibles in there. You might have fine arts in that apartment.
Now, with that though,
we can cover.
Do I need people see it as a hassle. I'm going to need receipts and I'm going to need to prove that. How does that work? I have this big screen TV that I own and I got the receipt for it, but I lost it in the fire.
Yeah.
How
Are
do
you
I
trying
get,
to put in a claim right now?
I am.
All right, just question. No, but to your point, no, I mean, I always tell everyone, if you can, keep those receipts in like a fireproof safe or some other location if possible, right? If you don't have it, though, they do have different ways of valuing how much they're going to, compensate you for that. But you can put endorsements on a policy to combat that, so that way you don't have depreciation on your items.
Oh,
So,
good. Well, that's good to know. You know,
absolutely.
I think that the folks in our listening audience should really take a look at that. You know,
Just one thing to touch on too,
sure.
as a property owner, right? I recommend to my tenants to have that as well.
Yeah.
It's a safe thing as a property owner too, because then they're also going to have liability with that too. So it's another safe way to cover you, to make sure that your tenants also have coverage too.
Well,
so it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Well, that's the biggest thing, right? Is you want to look at, I guess, overall value, right?
Mm-hmm.
What am I getting for the cost? And I think we've touched on, the cheapest necessarily isn't the best, and the most expensive. Maybe you're over-insured, which is great. It's a great problem to have. But if you just can't afford it, you guys work to really cater to each individual's budget.
We even finance premiums for people. So, my goal there when I walk through those doors every morning.
Well, touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
Finance a premium. What's
So
that?
if let's say they can't afford, say a business, so we'll take that again. If they can't afford to pay the premium in full for the whole year, or say your auto insurance, we finance those premiums. We have a carrier that we do.
Now that's something that you're not doing necessarily with those online guys.
No. You're not.
That's
getting
more
that.
of a small time.
This is
mom and pop.
This comes from, we want to be here for a long time. We want to be here for another 35 more years. I want my kids to run this business one day.
Right.
So it's one of those things that you have to take care of these people. So we want to help. We want to help you insure, right?
Well, Help You Insure Insurance has been doing it for 35 years, so I think you guys have been doing
we're standalone.
a pretty good job.
Yeah, we're not owned by the big guys. A lot of these companies are starting to get bought up by the big companies, but you know what? We're a small mom and pop. And we believe in that. We're very rooted in this community. We want to stay here. We want to help you out. We want to make sure that you're getting the best value for your policy, making sure that you're covered correctly.
Right. So Jesse St. Gelais, family man, local homegrown guy.
Yeah.
Local business.
Yeah.
Nonprofit board member and organizer. Yeah. Is there anything else that you don't do or do? Or?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other things that I've been doing just as of recently.
Yeah.
I've been walking and knocking quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, yeah, as far as that, that's it really. I'm trying to think. I've been a little busy lately.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, you seem like you got a lot on your plate, but you know how to manage it. That's always a good thing.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know what? It's not necessarily biting off more than what you can chew, right? It's how to juggle all these things, right? And they're all important things. I will never stop being part of the Port Society or the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick. That's in my heart.
So if something were added to your plate,
why
you
not?
would still continue
Absolutely.
all these.
Listen, if that opportunity comes my way where I can help people out, I'm going.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I do. I mean, and that's what my business does for people. I love doing what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm teaching my kids. I mean, my wife and I, we're raising two beautiful children, and little ones right now. The oldest one, she's already learned. She's doing good things right now, helping out a lot of people already.
Yeah, good,
so it's a contagious thing. But I mean, I just love working for this agency. I love helping people out.
Yeah, I think obviously a good family nucleus is good for not only the family, the community as a whole.
Yeah.
So that's great that you guys have that.
And I have to give a shout out to my coworkers, though.
Yeah.
I mean, really, seriously.
Well, listen,
there's so much heavy lifting that goes on around there that people don't see. But my coworkers are amazing. They are the best support I could ever have asked for. I've had them with me for quite a few years. I mean, we don't have a high turnover like that.
Well, that's
so
good.
I mean, they stick around, and they're right local in this community too. So I'm very thankful for that. I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, no, I bet. I know a lot of folks who own small businesses, family-owned businesses like yourself, and it's those types of businesses really employ the local,
Yeah.
New Bedford resident or the surrounding
We're the ones
communities.
sponsoring your teams, and
yeah, right,
giving
exactly.
back.
Listen,
And I do,
I was a
actually.
coach.
Yeah.
I played local baseball, little league baseball,
Yeah.
just like you, I'm sure.
Yeah, right down here in the
And
South End.
you always wanted to have that, sponsor's name on the back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're absolutely right that
We're here. I mean, that's the thing. You have to support local small business, and that's so important. So if there's anything I want to leave here, I mean, aside from making sure that everybody's up on their insurance policies, you have to keep it local. Keep it local. These are the people in your community. They care about your community. They're vested in this community.
Yeah.
So they're giving back to this community in more ways than just saving you money on your premiums.
Yeah. Well, that's I think you hit it right on the head. As far as insurance goes, are you seeing with the tight budgets that folks are having? Are you seeing people call to lower their insurance and
Yeah.
things like that? Do you? I know in your heart you want to save them some money. Do you make sure that they know the risks in doing so?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing, we're not looking to cut coverage to save them any money, but yeah, we have. I mean, as many people know right now, it's a very, very tough economy.
Yeah.
People are cutting back in areas that they really weren't planning on or shouldn't be really. And obviously, cutting back on your insurance policy is one of the things too, just like the cable bill or whatever.
I was one of those guys. I cut cable.
You have to do what you have to do, but yeah, I have been seeing that a lot, and it's very difficult. I'll tell you, the way that the state is in regard to insurance, it's very difficult for people right now. When it comes to flood insurance, for example,
Right.
if you're in that flood zone, it's very expensive.
Well, that's I think that's great, and it's good advice to let folks know necessarily not to cut the cable.
Yeah.
But definitely don't cut your car insurance, your home insurance. These are your assets. These are the things that you need to live, thrive, survive.
If they cut the cable, they wouldn't see us.
Yeah,
Right.
you're
So
right.
at least keep that a little bit. Right?
But Jesse St. Gelais, again, local guy, family man, small business advocate, nonprofit advocate, knows to build a coalition of people for a common good. I'm honored to call you my friend, longtime friend.
Thanks, Shawn. Thank you. Same here.
And I hope people come and check you out and help you insure on Acushnet Avenue.
Thank you.
And there's nothing that you can't do. So I look for good things from you. I hope that you guys will join us next week when we have your real host, Scott Pemberton. He's going to be taking it from here. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.